Everyone out there, 103.5, whole day, all night. Non-stop delightful radio broadcast. Join us. Culture, art, entertainment at their best. Listen to news updates on Ebonadi 103.5 FM immediately after Angeles 6 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. weekdays. Stay tuned to be updated, to be informed. News updates, live reports. Ebonadi FM breaks the news with actualities.
I believe that if we are hoping for a new Nigeria,
You can as well listen online via mixlr.com/GistFM.
Good evening and welcome to Ebona, the 103.5 FM news update today, Thursday, the 9th day of February 2023, and the time is 6 o'clock. Martin Ifan-Shuku Ekizie is my name. The headlines. Woman who lured teenagers into prostitution in Delta jailed in Anambra. 2023 polls. Enugu women demand deputy governorship slot. Find courage and confront evil men sponsoring insecurity in Imo. Uzodinma tells Peace Committee Wednesday. Two developers bid for Anambra Smart City project. Nigeria's Supreme Court temporarily halts ban on old Naira notes. Death toll rises above 12,000 in Turkey, Syria, quake. Now, details. Woman who lured teenagers into prostitution in Delta jailed in Anambra. A 35-year-old woman, Success James, has bagged multiple jail terms for luring four teenage girls into prostitution. The Anambra State Commissioner for Women's Affairs and Social Welfare, Mrs. E.P. Obinabo, had 2 days to the 2022 Christmas celebration intercepted four girls aged between 13 and 15 years in Onitsha who were into prostitution. The girls confessed that a certain Madam Success lured them into prostitution with a promise of a job in a restaurant in Abo, Delta State. Obinabo had led security operatives to arrest Madam Success, who was also brought to trial in a children, sexual, and gender-based violence court in Oka. The 35-year-old suspect was tried for offenses of child labor, child exploitation, abduction of children, and child stealing. Chief Magistrate Genevieve Osakwe, who delivered judgment on the matter on Wednesday, found Success James guilty of all the above charges. She was sent to Oka Correctional Facility for multiple jail terms, ranging between 1 year and 4 years for all the charges. The chief magistrate, however, declared that all the sentences would run concurrently without any option of fine. 2023 polls. Enugu women demand deputy governorship slot. Few weeks to the governorship election, women in Enugu State, under the urges of Women Support Women, have demanded that a woman must be considered for the deputy governorship position. They made the demand at a press conference addressed by the state coordinator of the group, Onyinye Mama. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who is about to serve out his tenure as a female deputy governor. The women group said they would not accept a situation where the women would not be considered for sensitive roles in the 2023 general elections. Mama noted that the era of including women to favor them and make them keep quiet is envisioned as archaic, retrogressive, and laid back. The representation of women in governance is that which should come naturally. She said, even though the men have dominated the political circle over the years, they have only kept the citizens in misery. There is no fuel despite subsidy. There is no money. There is no space for people to revert to the old currency, with effect telling on the poor, she lamented. Currently, only the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, has a female deputy governorship candidate, Princess Edith Ugwuanyi, ahead of the 2023 polls. When asked about the reality of their request, considering that ABGA may not have enough structure to win the Guba election in the state, Mama said, Nigeria has moved from the time when winning elections was all about structures. Mr. Peterobi of the Labour Party has brought a new dimension to Nigerian politics. So what the people are looking out for are credible alternatives and not their political platforms. I don't know how other political parties will go about it now the nomination is over, but that is our demand, she stated. Find courage and confront evil men sponsoring insecurity in Imo, Uzodinma tells Peace Committee. The National Peace Committee has urged The National Peace Committee has been urged to confront the evil people sponsoring insecurity in Imo State. According to the Imo State governor, his government will support and give them the necessary logistics that will make their job easy. The governor also advised them to take it as a responsibility to ensure the restoration of peace anchored on justice. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has promised to partner with the National Peace Committee, Imo State chapter. Governor Uzodinma made this promise during the courtesy visit of the members of the committee to the government house, Owerri. The governor advised them to take it as a responsibility to ensure the restoration of peace anchored on justice, noting that his government will support and give them the necessary logistics that will make their job easy. He encouraged them to find courage and confront evil men sponsoring violence and insecurity in the state. Speaking earlier, the chairman of the committee in the state, Reverend Father Professor Philip Obunna, said they came to inform Governor Uzodinma that the National Peace Committee Imo State chapter had since been inaugurated in Imo State on November 7th, 2022, and to request that the governor gives them the necessary support and logistics to fulfill the mandate. Two developers bid for Anambra Smart City project. No fewer than 72 estate developers have tendered proposal for the Anambra State Smart Megacity project as envisioned by the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo. As a result, the state government has signed a memorandum of understanding with 7 of the developers to transform the state capital into a smart megacity. The managing director, Anambra State's Investment, Promotion and Protection Agency, Mark Okoye, and Commissioner for Lands, Professor Ofonze Amushaze, signed the pact on behalf of the state government on Tuesday. Okoye said the pact was in line with Soludo's vision of building a smart megacity and transforming the investment and economic landscape of the state. He said the firms were selected after a rigorous screening from many companies in quality and timely delivery. He said the governor's brief to us is to reach out, engage, and work with the private sector to attract investments for the state. For the last 4 months, we have screened over 60 real estate proposals with detailed analysis. The governor, who is passionate about quality products with agenda for deadline, insisted on 3-year deadline as long as the firms are competent to deliver quality jobs. Speaking, Amushazi expressed confidence over the caliber of firms chosen for the project, assuring the government's continued support. The commissioner said we had altogether 72 proposals, but after going through them, 7 were successful. The place you are developing is unique, and we are expecting nothing less, considering your pedigree. The ANSIPPA and I are coming from the private sector, and we are working for a government where things are done entirely differently. In his speech, one of the estate developers, Rainbow Heritage Project Service Limited, pledged his readiness to create a reference point for infrastructural development in the state. The managing director, Bidima Oliver, said, "We appreciate housing challenges as a national issue. We have identified Anambra as a critical state for such intervention. As real estate developers, we plan to change the state's landscape and to find solutions to erosion menace and other development issues in the state," he stated. Nigeria hot ban on old Naira notes. The old notes would have ceased to be legal tender on February 10. The judge accordingly adjourned to February 15 for hearing of the main suit. The Supreme Court of Wednesday temporarily halted the move by Nigeria's federal government to ban the use of the old Naira notes from February 10, 2023. A 7-member panel led by Justice John Okoro halted the move of the federal government in a ruling in an ex parte application brought by 3 northern states of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara. The 3 states have specifically applied for an order of interim injunction restraining the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) or the commercial banks from suspending or determining or ending on February 10, 2023, the time frame with which the now old version of the 200, 500, and 1,000 naira denomination of naira may no longer be legal tender pending the hearing and determination of their motion on notice for interlocutory injunction, moving the application of Wednesday counsel to the applicants. Mr. A.I. Mustafa San has urged the Apex Court to grant the application in the interest of justice and well-being of Nigeria. He stated that the policy of the government had led to an excruciating situation that is almost leading to anarchy in the land, while he referred to a Central Bank of Nigeria's CBN statistics, which put the number of people who don't have bank accounts at over 60%. Mustafa lamented that the few Nigerians with bank accounts can't even access their monies from the banks as a result of the policy. The senior lawyer further argued that unless the Supreme Court intervenes, the situation will lead to anarchy because most banks are already closing operations. Delivering ruling in the motion, Justice Okolo held that after a careful consideration of the motion, this application is granted as prayed. An order of interim injunction restraining the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) or the commercial banks from suspending or determining on ending on February 10th, 2023, the time frame with which the now old version of the 200, 500, and 1,000 denomination of the naira may no longer be legal tender, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for interlocutory injunction. He accordingly adjourned to February 15th, 2023 for hearing of the main suit. Now we move over to the foreign scene. Death toll rises above 12,000 in Turkey. Syria quake. The death toll from a massive earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria climbed above 12,000 on Wednesday as rescuers raced to save survivors trapped under the debris in freezing weather. Officials and medics said 9,057 people have died in Turkey and 2,992 in Syria from Monday's 7.8 magnitude tremor, bringing the total to 12,049. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Wednesday considered shortcomings after criticisms of his government's response to the massive earthquake. The sprawling scale of the disaster that flattened thousands of buildings, trapping an unknown number of people, have swamped relief operations already hampered by freezing weather. Survivors have been left to scramble for food and shelter, and in some cases, watch helplessly as their relatives called for rescue and eventually went silent under the debris. My nephew, my sister-in-law, my sister's-in-law's sister are in the ruins. They are trapped under the ruins and there is no sign of life, said Samir Koban, a kindergarten teacher in Turkey's Hatay. We can't reach them. We are trying to talk to them, but they are not responding. We are waiting for help. It has been 48 hours now, she said. Still, Sasha kept pulling survivors from the debris 3 days after the 7.8 magnitude quake that is already one of the deadliest this century, even as the death toll continues to rise. As criticisms mounted online, Erdogan visited one of the hardest hit spots, quake epicenter, and acknowledged problems in the response. Of course, there are shortcomings. The conditions are clear to see. It is not possible to be ready for a disaster like this, he said. The window for rescuers to find survivors is narrowing as the effort nears the 72-hour mark that disaster experts consider the most likely period to save lives. Yet, on Wednesday, children from under a collapsed building in the hard-hit Turkish province of Hatay, where whole stretches of town have been leveled. There are around 400, 500 people trapped under each collapsed building, with only 10 people trying to pull them out, and there is no machinery, he added. The white helmets leading efforts to rescue people buried under rubble in rebel-held areas of Syria have appealed for international help in their race against time. They have been toiling since the quake to pull survivors out from under the debris of dozens of flattened buildings in northwestern areas of war-torn Syria that remain outside the government's control. This is where we draw the curtain on news update on Ebona at the 103.5 FM. But before we leave, a quick look at the headlines. Woman who lured teenagers into prostitution is jailed in Anambra. 2023 polls. Enugu women demand deputy governorship slot. Find courage and confront evil men sponsoring insecurity in Imo. Uzodinma tells Peace Committee. Two developers bid for Anambra's market. Nigeria's Supreme Court temporarily halts ban on old naira notes. Death toll rises above 12,000 in Turkey, Syria quake. You just listened to news update on Ebona the 103.5 FM. News produced and read by Martin Ifan-Shuku Ekezie. Thank you for listening. Once again, good evening. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Subscribe, like the video, and then share the video. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks.
And 6 o'clock p.m.